Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to St Albans Property Meetup. My name's Chris Ryder, I'm the host, and you're very welcome. It's lovely to see so many people on the call. There will be a great set of information that we're sharing with you tonight, so you'll be able to see what we're doing, you'll be able to hear what we're doing, and you'll also have an opportunity to ask questions. The agenda is, so I'm just going to go through an introduction and objectives for a few minutes. Then Sam Norris will be doing his usual spot on lending. So I remember last time Sam gave his talk, I actually ran out of notes to write down. There was an awful lot going on in the lending world. So that was really, really good. So Sam's going to share an update on the lending side. Then Julie Ford's always a really good source of information in terms of what's happening in the legal world and regarding landlords, not everything legal. And so Julie's kindly agreed to provide an update, a legislation update, and also for information, Julie is the host of the Hemel and St Albans Property Network. So that's always worth attending as well for those who can. Then after Julie's update, I'm actually going to talk, unusually, I'm going to talk about myself. So the journey I've had in property from really sort of 2000. So both myself and my wife, Lisa, what we've been doing in property since then. And just like many of us, there's mistakes along the way. And also, I'm going to cover service accommodation. So service accommodations, well, it's quite timely, actually. I didn't realise this was actually going to happen, but the Property Hub have released an interview I did with them on service accommodation. So the two of those actually marry up really quite nicely. So I'm going to cover service accommodation. So what service accommodation is, how we've implemented it, some of the automation we've done, some of the sort of clever stuff we've done and continue to do. Then after my talk, there'll be a Q&A session, and then I'll talk about next month, and then we'll close. So I expect to finish around 9 o'clock. So in terms of housekeeping, I should tell you all that the event is recorded. So this people find really useful and can access the recording. Obviously, for those who can't attend tonight, it's better to attend because it gives you an opportunity to ask questions. Also, if you can stay muted, that would stop background noise. And but please, obviously, unmute to ask a question. You can also ask questions in the chat box, and I'll try and review those as well as we go through. So also, if you can keep your video on, that's really good. It's really good to see people's faces and reactions. So that's really good. So as I say, you can place questions in the chat box, or it's probably a lot easier and saves the fingers to ask them verbally. And just a final reminder that there's no sort of individual advice. So anything that we talk about today is general advice. So there's no individual advice as we go through. So the objectives of our call tonight is, so our meeting is normally a physical meeting. I'm sure many of you have been along prior in the beach house. So since COVID hit us, we've run these Zoom meetings every month, and we'll be continuing that for next month as well. So it gives us a platform that we can still continue our meetings every month, which people find valuable, gives you an opportunity to ask questions, and also for knowledge sharing as well, which is great. We also provide an update on some of the changes impacting the property market as a result of the coronavirus. So Sam covers the impacts and the changes for the lending market. Julie provides an update from the legal side as well. And then we have specialist speakers on different aspects. And tonight I'll be talking about how the coronavirus has impacted our service accommodation business, for example. Also, we've got information sharing, provides an opportunity for you guys to ask any questions. So at the end, you could ask any questions you like, and also be gaining learning from industry experts. So what do we do? So by the we, that's myself and Lisa. So many of you will know Lisa, who helps run the meeting for me. So we've got two main businesses. We've got many businesses, but the two main ones I'm going to talk about tonight is Alban Property, which has got residential developments. So we do residential developments. One of the things we love doing is taking tired old properties and making them into, lovely, new, habitable. The last property we took on had actually been empty for 4 years. So down in Kent, it was in a pretty poor state of repair, had really bad damp problems. There's all sorts of things you can do sometimes with properties that have been empty. So for instance, in Kent, there's a £25,000 interest-free loan over 4 years to take a property that's been empty for more than 6 months and refurbish it. So that's quite a good way of look in your area. There's sometimes grants or there's sometimes loans available to do development work. So that was really good for us. So this part of our business also owns properties. So it owns our buy-to-let portfolio, the HMOs, and the buy-to-lets that we haven't turned into that we haven't kept as buy-to-lets. We've turned into service accommodation or holiday lets. As I say, I'm going to talk about that tonight. But most of our buy-to-lets we've turned into service accommodation. I talked about we love refurbishing residential properties. We also work with partners on projects. I think that's one of the lovely things about property is you do get to work. We'll work with some people on the call, work with builders, work with all sorts of people really. So that's one thing we love doing. We run our property meetup in St Albans, and our second business is our service accommodation business, which is what I'm going to talk about tonight. I must get in early that this is a business that Lisa runs, really. So I can't take all the credit for this. Lisa runs this business. I helped set it up, but Lisa runs it. So what do we do with our service accommodation business? Well, we manage our own properties for the short-term market. And as I say, in my talk tonight, I'm going to talk about how COVID's impacted that. And also we manage and market properties owned by other landlords for the short-term market. So we can do this internationally. There's a guy in Dubai I've been talking to who wants us to advertise his properties. There's also a guy who wants to white label our software so that for all intents and purposes, it looks like his software, but in actual fact, it's what we're doing. So we do help some others. In fact, talked to 2 people this week who want us to take on their properties. We are a little bit particular, but we do some of that. That's it. So that was that's just my brief introduction.